Welcome to Wildwood Cemetery. Wildwood Cemetery is located in the town of Beckley, West Virginia. The cemetery is located across from the Wildwood House, the home of the Beckley family. This double log cabin, built in the 1830s, played a large part in the founding of this cemetery. Alfred Beckley was the founder of the town of Beckley, which he named after his father, John James Beckley. John was the first clerk for the United States House of Representatives and the first librarian of Congress. Alfred, John's son, moved to Western Virginia after a brief stint in the military. He moved into the home he named Wildwood. There he began a family. He had 6 children with his first wife and 3 more with his second. His first wife died after giving birth to their 7th child, and she was the first person buried in the cemetery across from their home. More of the Beckley family eventually were buried there as well, including some of Alfred's children who died young, in their 20s, due to typhoid fever. Alfred himself is also buried in Wildwood Cemetery. The Beckley family plots were the first in the Wildwood Cemetery, and their family graves are today fenced off from the others in the cemetery. But along with the Beckley family plot, there are graves of the many families who were the first to make the town their home. The first preachers, lawyers, businessmen, and more were all buried in Wildwood Cemetery. Another early family that was actually related to the Beckleys was the Prince family. The Prince family was also prominent in the founding and early years of Beckley, and near the Beckley fenced-in plot stands a mausoleum with some of the Prince graves. Other graves include the first state governor from the county and other key politicians in the local area. The social standing of the cemetery began with the most prominent citizens and families of the town, but it shifted once the town got up on its feet and prospered. The Beckleys and other prominent families were the government and law in the town, despite the fact there was another cemetery in town. The cemetery, which started as a family cemetery, then became a place for those important to the town or even for town matters. The first and only man given the death sentence and executed in the county by the local government is buried in Wildwood Cemetery. Over time, this fact became even more prominent. I recently found out that I have an ancestor, my great-great-grandfather, who is buried in Wildwood Cemetery. Seeing as my ancestors and family do not live in Beckley, I found this odd. Through some research, I discovered he was buried at Wildwood after county and state investigators were through with his body in an investigation. See, he was shot and killed by another man who did live in Beckley almost 100 years ago. And even though I found it odd that he would be buried in the same cemetery as the founders of the town, it made more sense that Alfred Beckley gave everything he had for the town. And his family cemetery still accepts those who are buried after the town business has been completed. This stands as another piece of evidence that the cemetery, over time, and even today, no longer stands as a family plot or one for people of prominence in the town. Instead, it serves as almost a place of burial for the city and county government. It is the resting place of the guilty and the innocent, the common and the prestigious. And even today, there are plots set aside for those buried in the future. Therefore, Wildwood Cemetery, despite its long history in the town, is not entirely done capturing and retelling its stories.